Hi everyone, my name is James and I'm creating this YouTube channel to help other programmers, other beginners, other people who are starting out, just programming in general, to solve algorithms more efficiently and in a more practical way. Oftentimes in the beginning, especially for me, when you're learning JavaScript or any other programming language, you learn variables, loops, and all of the basics of the language. But when you're approached with a real programming challenge, an algorithm, an application, or anything you have to code, oftentimes it's really hard to piece things together. So throughout these videos, I'm going to walk through several different kinds of algorithm challenges, and I hope they're instructional and helpful for you. And so the first algorithm that I'm going to be doing for this video is going to be Pig Latin. And this algorithm can be found on the freeCodeCamp curriculum under the intermediate algorithm scripting section. And so before I solve any kind of algorithm, before I start any kind of coding challenge, I find it really helpful to understand what the problem is really asking for before I start writing any kind of code. Because oftentimes I just want to start writing code, start busting out the for loops, the variables, trying to figure it out. But oftentimes when you're in the middle of coding through one of these challenges, you find that, wait, that's not what the problem was asking for. So it's important that we get a real clear understanding of what the question it demands. So let's read the question together. Pig Latin is a way of altering English words. The rule are as follows. If a word begins with a consonant, we're going to take the first consonant or consonant cluster, and we're going to move it to the end of the word and add a to it. And so if a word begins with a vowel, we're just going to add way at the end. So basically, in this case, there's going to be two scenarios. So scenario one, we're going to take consonant cluster, move it to end of string, add a. Scenario two is going to be, we're going to just leave string as is and add way to it. And so, yes, that's what the question is asking for. It's pretty much saying Pig Latin is a way of taking a string like California. If it's a consonant, we're going to take the consonant cluster, move it to the end, like right here, and we're going to add either a or way, depending on if the beginning is a vowel or a consonant. And so that's what the question is asking for. But in order to really approach this problem, what is the necessary things that we have to look at? And so for me, when I'm looking at this problem, there's going to be a consonant cluster. If it's a consonant, there's going to be, I'll just pseudocode this out. There's going to be either consonant cluster or nothing. Then there's going to be the rest of original string, organic original string. And then we're going to have the ending a or way, depending on if it's a vowel or a consonant. So when I'm looking at this problem, I pretty much think that we're probably going to need three different parts, three different variables to pretty much say this is the first part. Either it's going to be consonant cluster or blank, rest of the original string, or it's going to be ending a or way. And so first, let's define our variable. So I'm just going to label it something very generic here. Let first part, let's just set it to equal empty string. Sorry. Let second part, let's also equal to empty string, and let third part also equal to an empty string. So we have first, second, and third. And so before solving the first or the second part, let's first see if the beginning of the string is going to be a consonant or a vowel. And so we could easily do that. But before we do that, we have to find a way to compare the first character of the string with the vowels. And we all know what the vowels are, right? It's going to be A, E, I, O, U. And so before we do that, let's actually create an array of vowels for comparison. Let vowels equal to A, E, I, O, U. And so we have our vowels array right here. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out if third part is A or way, depending on if first character of string is a vowel or consonant. And so how do we do this? Obviously, we're going to have to set up some kind of conditional statement to check if the first character of this string, in this case, it's rhythm, we're going to check to see, let's actually change the testing conditions here just for convenience sake. And I'll run by this case later, but let's just compare this. So the first thing here is going to be a vowel. We're going to check to see if the first character is a vowel or a consonant, and if so, we're going to make the third part equal to way or a depending. So let's set up our conditional statement, if. So how are we going to compare if it's a vowel or if it's a consonant? So let's say if string of 0, or rather, if vowels, which is this array of A, E, I, O, U, dot includes, and includes is going to be in a built-in array method that's going to check to see if an element exists in that array, if the element provided into this exists in this array. So if vowels dot includes string of I, so pretty much this conditional statement right here, we're checking to see is string of I included in A, E, I, O, U. And if this is true, then we're going to check our string of 0, then we're going to say third part is going to be equal to the string way. Else, if it's not a vowel, it's a consonant, then we're going to say third part is going to be equal to A. And so this is our first conditional statement to check to see if the third part is A or way. In this case, we're testing for the string glove. Let's check to see if our conditional statement actually makes sense. Third part. And A, which is a consonant, yes, that is correct. So our first conditional statement, our third part of this section makes sense. So next, we're going to have to solve the first part of the section, which is either going to be a consonant cluster, or blank or empty string. And this is all going to depend on how long the original consonant cluster is or not. So basically, how are we going to solve this? So basically, what we're going to need to do is we're probably going to need to loop through the characters of this string to check to see if it is a consonant or not. So we're going to first loop through original string, add if the string of I, which is going to be each element, each character of the string, if the string of I is equal to, what was it, a consonant, we will add that to the first part. When the loop encounters a vowel, so basically when we're looping through this and we loop through and we find a vowel O, we're just going to break out of the array and say, okay, first of all, where we got our first part, it's all done. I'm gonna show you what I mean because explaining it might not make as much sense as I would have hoped for it to, but let's actually loop through it and it will make a lot more sense. For let I equal to 0, I is less than string dot length, I plus plus. So we're gonna loop through it string dot length time. And so basically we're gonna say if vals dot includes, same thing as we did up there, string of I, then we're just gonna break out of this loop completely because then we ran into a vowel. We don't want that to be part of our consonant cluster and we're just gonna break out. Otherwise, in this outer loop, out of the if statement, if it's not that case, if it is a consonant, then we're gonna say first part plus equals string of I. And so basically it's saying if it's a vowel, we're just gonna stop the loop. If not, we're gonna add each character that is a consonant to the first part. And so in this case, what I would expect to see for the first part is GL. And let's actually test that out. We'll console.log first part. And perfect. First part is equal to GL, just like we were hoping for. And so first part, good. Now all we need to do is solve the second part, and then we could really just piece everything together to solve the Pig Latin algorithm. And so how do we compute the second part? The second part is going to be remainder that is not remainder of original string, not part of first part. So how do we solve this? We're going to have to use a little method called string.slice. And if you guys don't know what string.slice does, it's going to take a portion of a string and return it as a new string without modifying the original string. And you can find a ton more information on the MDN docs, but I'll just show you guys so it all makes sense. So let's actually define a new variable here. I'm gonna actually move this up here. And let's actually define a new variable here called index. And so basically index here is going to be needed so when we slice it, we know how much to slice and where to start the slice. And so index here is going to be equal to first part dot length. And why am I doing this? Because I will show you right here that it makes so much more sense. Then we're just going to do second part. It's going to be equal to string, which is the original string dot slice. Start at the index. Then we're going to end at string dot length. And the reason why we do this index here in this case is going to be equal to first part dot length. And we know that first part dot length is equal to 2. That means for the second part, when we're computing the second part, the second index of the original string is going to be equal to the character right after. And so we get the character right after. We're going to slice from there all the way to the end of the string. And we're going to return that as part of the second part variable. And so if we console.log second part, we should have the rest of the string right here. So actually, we have all of the tools necessary to compute the Pig Latin algorithm. And so the Pig Latin algorithm, Pig Latin takes the first cluster of consonants, moves it behind the string, which is right here, and adds a or way. And so since we have all of the pieces needed, all we need to do is set up a simple concatenation in order to make this algorithm really work. And I'll just show you right now, const Pig Latin is going to be equal to second part, sorry, typo there, second part dot concatenate. And then we're just going to concatenate the first part and we're going to concatenate the third part. And so if we do this and we console.log pig Latin, we see here that, wow, it actually kind of looks like it really worked. And so I would say right here, before returning anything, I'm going to just put it right here just so we can have the return statement there, but it looks like it's really working. And now this algorithm might be confusing because some of you may ask, there is no first part if it's a vowel. But actually, that really doesn't matter because let me actually show you a use case here. So if we take this string right here, we take this string and we actually look at it, algorithm. So basically the first section says, okay, the string is a vowel, we make the third part way. That's no problem, doesn't break that. This part is probably where you guys can have a little bit of confusion, but basically it's no big deal at all because basically it's looping through this array and it says if vowels dot includes string of I, then we're just gonna break out of the loop without looping at all. So if the string of I, which is 0, is gonna be equal to a vowel, we're just gonna break out of it. And first part dot length is gonna be equal to 0. So when we calculate the index, it's gonna be equal to 0. And so when we calculate the second part of this algorithm, then we just say string.slice 0 to string.length, which is the equivalent of saying just take the whole string and return it as a new string. And so basically, when we're concatenating it at the end, we have the whole string and concatenate empty string, and also the third part, which is going to be equal to way. And so this algorithm should work. Let's actually run the condition and boom, it actually worked. And so that's it for the first algorithm. Thank you so much for watching my video. I know that was a really long one. And I just wanted to really walk through the process of how to solve these, how I actually think about it when I'm solving these. And I hope that it was mildly helpful for you. If you liked the video, please like the video, subscribe. And also, if you have any algorithm requests that you have for me, just post it in the comments and I'll be happy to make a video about it and solving it and showing how I solve the problem. Thank you so much.